My name's Nathan Jones. I'm a PE Ed major with a health minor, and I'm from Adel, Iowa, which ain't too far from Des Moines. It's about 10 minutes from Waukee, where Melissa lives. And I'm not going to talk about my Christmas break again because that was pretty boring and I don't want to make you guys sleep. So I'm going to talk about rugby today. I'm going to talk about some history of it, and then I'm going to tell you why you should play rugby, or at least watch some, or I don't know, give it a look. So rugby was founded in England in the early 1800s by a guy named William Webb, we think. A lot of guys, or it's a popular sport out there. Now it's a national sport in England, and it's real popular in Europe. So a bunch of teams, or the guys playing out there for a couple hundred years, or ever since it's been invented, it's been real popular. And so when most people think of rugby, they think it's kind of a stupid version of football, which rugby came about, I don't know, 100 years first, or before football came around. And the guy who actually, or was known for establishing football, was a rugby player, and his name's Walter Camp, and he's got a famous award in college football now. It's given to one of the best players throughout the year. It's pretty much the award's second to the Heisman. And so rugby, or football, came directly from rugby. A lot of the things are similar, but then there's a lot of differences. So in rugby, you toss the ball backwards, you can't throw it forward. And in football, Walter Camp decided to establish a line of scrimmage, which there is in rugby. But in football, you have to stop after every play. You can throw the ball forward, you can do a variety of things, handoffs, and all that boring stuff. So Walter Camp, he pretty much made rugby kind of boring, kind of stopped it, added, there's less time, but it takes longer to play because there's so much stoppage time. And so it's kind of, I don't know, it's a lot different, but similar idea. The ball's different, and then in football there's a lot of pads that aren't really necessary, I don't know. But rugby, a lot of people think rugby is so much more, it's dangerous, but it's not, because in football there's a lot of rules with hitting, which you got pads, so there you go. In rugby, you're not wearing anything unless you want to wear the shoulder pads and Nike Pro Combat stuff. Those pads are about a ½ inch thick. You can wear those if you want, if you got bad shoulders like I do. And so then when it comes to tackling, you can only hit below the pectorals, so everything has to be low, and then after you hit, you have to release pretty quick. So overall, it's kind of safe. In the 2 years I played in high school, we had more football injuries in that span than rugby. I think the worst we had was a broken collarbone, so that's not too bad. And a couple concussions. So why should you play rugby? UNI's got 2 teams, a men's and women's league, which is good for the sport because it's growing in America, and it's growing in Iowa pretty rapidly, especially at the high school level. My school got a team 2 years ago, and then this last season it grew enough in 1 year that we were able to start having 2 state tournaments, which is real good for the sport. And then over the next couple of years, hopefully it'll grow, and hopefully there'll be more than 1 or 2 classes of rugby in the state of Iowa, and maybe it'll go beyond that and it'll be school sanctioned. And then, like I said, there's men's and women's teams here, and you don't have to be the biggest guy to play. When you think of rugby players, you probably think of guys that got giant beards or lumberjacks. They look like they could eat you. But that's halfway true, because there's a lot of guys, most of the rugby players here look like they could sit on you and you wouldn't die. But you can be little, like myself. I'm not the biggest guy, I'm not the strongest, but I'm small and quick, so it works. And then it's like football, there's a lot of positions. You got your linemen, you got your running backs. And so it's the same idea for rugby. You got your big guys that hit people, and you got your little guys that run away from people like myself.